Good evening, mighty listeners. There's been a bit of a delay, hasn't there, Ben?
There has, yeah. Sorry, guys.
You became becalmed in the warp around Bodmin, and after a period of time emerged blessed by Nurgle, not unlike the Death Guard.
Yeah, something like that.
It's true, it's true. Okay, so tonight's challenge, is for me not to try and insert clips from the Greatest Showman soundtrack, which is just running through my head at random points throughout the podcast. So, Ben, watch out for your editing.
Okay.
I
haven't seen that.
You haven't?
No.
Oh, mate, I know we don't do film reviews, but you have to see it. In fact, you have to go to the cinema and demand that they put it back on, because it's been out of the cinema for ages, and watch it in the cinema.
Okay.
This is amazing. But anyway, moving on to wargaming. Oh, that's what we're here for. So, today we have got the hobby desk. So we've both been painting. Not as much as sometimes in the past. And I've just been painting red stuff again. So, same old, same old. Ben will put up his yawning stuff.
Yawn.
It's polite like that.
Yawn.
And and then we go into the Galaxy of War. So nothing's really happened in the Galaxy of War. So that will be a short section, won't it? No, of course. Mortal Realms. Actually, not a huge amount in the Mortal Realms the last couple of weeks, but we'll certainly find something to bore you with, I'm sure. Then we'll go to the community. And in the community, we will discuss community. I lost my flow there, Ben.
No, I can tell. It's like a balloon that's been pierced by a pin.
It's because I keep looking over and seeing the Helldrakes and thinking, oh god, I've still got to paint them. So in the community, we'll do our normal bit of calendar and some shout outs as well. And I want to talk about a new painting competition for the group. And then lastly, it is Middle Earth this week. So there's been some cool new models just come out of left field for Middle Earth. So we'll have a chat about those as well.
Yep.
Anything else, dude?
No, that sounds good.
Right, let's crack on then. Guys, you know what to do. Grab
some refreshments?
Some crisps. No, some refreshments. It might include crisps. And we will see you on the hobby desk.
Hi guys, and welcome to the 35th Hobby Desk. Thanks for being patient and waiting an extra week for the podcast, but like Dan said, I've been a bit unwell. I've had a pneumonia, and I'm going to struggle, I think, today. I can already feel it. So if I start coughing, I'm very, very sorry. Especially if you've got your headphones on and it blasts your eardrums out, but we'll try and edit it out if I do.
What we could do... What? Oh, off he goes.
Nurgle's touch.
What we could do is actually release the separate recordings of us talking, because then people can just mute you.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't they?
Might be the best way forward.
Just, in fact, actually, if we just record me, it'd be fine. I think.
Yeah.
Wouldn't lose too much.
I don't even have the energy to argue with that.
No, I know, mate. It's unfair, isn't it? It's like kicking a
dog in a bag.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So unfortunately, because of that, I've also not been all that active on the hobby desk. So apologies for or in fact online. So if our forums and that seemed a little quiet, it's because I have been reduced to a coughing, spluttering, shivering heap for 2 weeks. But cool, hobby desk. We're back on business, and I finished my Titans. That was my 3 weeks worth of achievement, but I'm quite proud of that. But I'm quite happy. I've got a whole, I think, what looks like a proper mana pool done now.
Yeah, I love it. It looks really good. I like the bases. I'm just wild about the bases. I just think they contrast really well with the miniature.
Well, I tried something new with that. So I quite often, I go for a base because I like the colour, or I had a theme in my head and I went for that. This time I went for the base based on the colour wheel.
Mm-hmm.
So I took the main primary colours from the Titan, and chose the third dominant colour, so yellow, blue, and then this red was sort of roughly in the middle, the third colour. And I think it's worked quite well, actually. And the base is really easy. It's the first time I've used like a lot of weathering powder on the base to get a sort of dusty look.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it turned out all right, actually. Quite a lot of challenges with a 8mm base, because you can't just stick anything on it.
No.
It's got to be to scale, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So some new and interesting challenges with that, which I was quite excited to get my teeth stuck into. Unfortunately, because I had to do the bases on these quite quickly, so they were ready for Warhammer World, I didn't get to embellish them all that much, but I think that adds to the sort of dusty Martian plains look a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I really like it. So what have you got done now? You've got 2 Reavers?
Yeah, 2 Warlords, 2 Reavers, 2 Warhounds.
Uh-huh.
I'm very tempted to get that Maniple box set, where it's effectively the 2 Warhounds for free.
Yeah.
And add a third one on, but I'm not sure yet. I think I might end up getting the new Warlord, the new Reaver, and another box of Warhounds later on. But
that would probably make more sense.
I can't see them releasing another plastic Warlord, if that makes any sense. I can't see them being any.
What, a third one?
Yeah. I think any more additional weapons now are going to be resin. Yeah, that's my guess. And you're going to have those 2 options as like your core Warlord. Same with the Reaver. So I think there's time, because I'm quite happy to. You can always batch paint the weapons if they don't take very long. So
no,
it's exciting. I'm most excited about the Knights, actually. Come to think of it, and I was especially excited when they released a brand new 40k Titan, because it sort of expanded what we're going to see in that. But that's for the next section, really, I suppose. But I had a bit of a problem, and I did want to talk about it because it was a real bugger, actually. When we went up to Warhammer World, I lost the missile pod on one of my Reavers.
Ah, yeah.
And I didn't realise that until I came back. In fact, I didn't realise that until a couple of days after I'd come back, when I got them out to paint. And phoned up Warhammer World, and they had a good old look around and couldn't find it, and it hadn't been handed in. So if someone sat out there with a blue missile pod from a Reaver who thought it was fun to just take it away from Warhammer World and not hand it in, then cheers, pal. I'm serious. It's just so low. But nonetheless, I'd like to give a shout out to the Titanicus group, because having looked around and looking at options, I was going to go for the Bits box one, and then I thought, well, why don't I just stick a message on Titanicus group, Facebook group? Lo and behold, within 20 minutes, someone had piped up and said, I've got one I'm not using, I'll send it to you for, $5 and postage. So, it was a big shout out to the community, because that's what it's all about, really, helping each other out. And likewise, if you're listening to this and you're missing a bit, and I've got one spare I don't need, just pop it on a hobby forum, and same for cost, I'll work it out for you. Because it was with a kit like that, you don't get multiples.
No,
of a lot of it, and once it's gone, it's gone. There's no real way to get one back easily, and I can't see them releasing missile pods as a resin piece when they're already in the plastic kit. So I was really quite gutted. I suppose in time the Bits box sites will catch up. They're really quite good at that kind of stuff, but for now they haven't, and they still haven't. And I can see it from where I've got them on my mantelpiece, and I can see it from my chair. I can see that my Titan doesn't have a flipping missile pod, and it drives me mental. It drives me mental. I can't explain how irritating it is.
It is definitely always worth putting posts on Facebook for things like that. I've sent loads of bits and bobs off to people randomly just because they want it, and I happen to have it. And normally, 9 times out of 10, it's small enough, especially if you've got it in component form, to go in a letter size. And it doesn't cost, it costs the price of a stamp. But it means a lot to the person at the other end. So, yeah, I think it's well worth posting up for things like that.
Absolutely.
So what are you going to do when you recover from your plague?
Well, I spent ages mulling over Space Wolf lists and decided I didn't care. I've never cared. It's not how I play 40k. I wanted an army that looked and felt like I wanted it to feel. And at the moment, I need tanks. Because all of my stuff is infantry. So I'm going to paint probably the Stormwolf, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
The flying thing.
Yep.
And Redemptor Dreadnought, squad of 5 Terminators to go with Grimnar. And if I've got any spare points, maybe another vehicle. And I'll do that alongside the Stormwolf. Because I think that will make the army look better.
Yeah.
If that makes... and it's about... I think that the army needs armour at the moment. That's what it's missing. Not necessarily tactically, but certainly aesthetically.
Yeah.
And that's how I've always played. I want to do a tank. I've wanted to do a Space Wolf tank now for 6 months.
Oh, yeah, you've got to have some tanks.
So that's what I'm going to do. And I know that's a complete... there's probably a load of gamers listening to this going, oh, what? I don't really care.
In-depth tactical reviews.
Yeah, I think... but then having said that, I've got the infantry in the army, and what I'm lacking, I feel, when I play, is a vehicle of some description, a heavier vehicle, that'll, stand the test of the game and take the firepower. And
what are you gonna? You should get one of the repulsors.
I've got a repulsor.
Well, there you go then. Or you could just wait because some flipping mega Doom tank is going to come out soon. I reckon. I've decided.
Really?
Yeah.
What made you decide that?
I just well, there's some mega dude with Doom fists who can't fit in his own Land Raider anymore, so he needs a Doom tank to ride around in.
That's true. Yes. That's very true. Yeah.
So there we are.
I am tempted by bits of Blackstone Fortress as well, and actually the Rogue Trader Kill Team box. Just some of those individual character models, because that's what I haven't done in a long time, is sat down and done a character model.
Do you know, it's interesting you should mention that, because I was discussing that. Who was I talking to that about with? Was it Ben? Other Ben? Possibly. Do you know? Anyway, we were just saying, like, the stuff you paint looks flippin' ace, but it'd be really nice to see you take, like, a single model and go and put, like, the mega time into it again, which I know you can do. Rather than like working on big batches, because you've actually in recent times you've been doing like quantity a lot, haven't you? And don't get me wrong,
I've got so much to do.
I know you have, and don't get me wrong, it all looks ace. I just reckon it would be nice to see. I'd love to see you do Janice Drake.
Who's that? Which one's that?
Janice Drake. That's the
the Rogue Trader.
Yeah, the Rogue Trader from Blackstone.
Yeah.
I think you could
might be worth doing.
Do a nice job on it. Well, it's got all different textures and stuff on it, hasn't it?
It does, yeah.
So yeah, I think it would be a good one to see. Very good.
Yeah, I think I've already started planning my hobby resolutions for next year, and I think the batch painting is really important to me because I want to get through the backlog, the volume.
Yeah.
Want to get the starters kits done to a decent standard, all of those things, but actually, I suppose you could say that my mega boss, I sat down and put a few days into, or a few evenings into. Certainly did with the Maw Crusher, but not a huge amount of time. Really, pound for pound, little goblin dudes was, the guy with the fungus hat.
Well, you have a whole army of them in a minute.
Yeah, he's the one I spent the most time on this year. I spent probably 15 hours just on him, and he was quite small. 10 hours. He was quite small. So, and that was all at the start of the year. So I am missing sitting down and really giving it some beans on a model. But yeah, that's probably what I want to do next. Sit down with a single model, choose a single model, and spend a couple of days doing it.
Good.
So there we are. So how about you, Mr. Helldrake man?
Well, I've been doing Helldrakes. So I sat down and spent some time mulling over some chaos lists, and didn't decide that I didn't care. I decided I needed to get some certain units to play with. Well, I want some fast stuff to go off and catch stuff, capture objectives, and move around a bit. I always like moving around. I always loved playing with my Eldar back when I used to use my Eldar, because you had options, like speed options to get around the table.
Yeah.
So anyway, I decided to build myself a list, 2,000 point list. Much the same vein as for Age of Sigmar we spoke about last time. I've got a 2,000 point list that I'm happy with, and I want to develop how I play with that list now. But it's got the units in I'd like. So I decided to do the same thing for 40k. And that included having 2 Helldrakes. So I had one already that I'd partially built. So I went and bought another one and built that. And I decided that I had to paint them both at the same time, because when I've painted one, I don't think I'll ever want to paint another.
Yes.
And that is, well, it's surprising, actually. A little bit of me is kind of enjoying it. It's weird. I've sprayed it all Balthazar Gold, and then washed it, and then sprayed it Sycorax Bronze, which, to be honest, I didn't need to wash it. Because I've ended up with a solid coat of Sycorax Bronze, which I'm going to... Is it Sycorax Bronze? Is that the right name for that colour?
Well, yeah, there is one called Sycorax Bronze, yeah.
Well, yes, then it is. And I'm going to end up washing it a bit again and going back with a brush, just because it's a little bit flat. But I've just last night finished blocking in all of the red bits, which took flipping ages. I spent an entire day on it, doing 2 of them. So yeah, that's the main thing I've been doing. I did have a small break because the transfers came out for Gryphonicus. Huzzah! So they arrived, and so I've put them on my Titan. And I'm quite pleased with that. I put them on. I've done one of the knee pads. I've put some Salamanders transfers on, because I think I've said before I wanted to match my guys in with my Salamanders.
Yeah.
For Heresy. So I thought, I'll put some markings on to sort of show they've been fighting alongside the Salamanders. So I thought that'd be quite cool. So I've done that. I haven't actually... That's all I've done, is put the transfers on. I haven't done any of the weathering and stuff yet, because I'm working on these Helldrakes at the moment. But then I was a bit like... I saw some... I shared them on Instagram. I think I did on Facebook as well. Some really, really awesome Mortis.
Twitter. You said them on Twitter.
Oh, I share them all over the place. I tend to do that. I tend to don't do anything for ages and then just put a load of stuff all over the place. They are on Facebook because I've just seen them, so I'm just looking to see who it was.
Dan Wheeler.
Dan Wheeler, yes, thank you. Right, so Dan Wheeler did it from the Titanicus group. Awesome looking Mortis engines, and I was like, now I want to do Mortis.
They are nice, and we did talk about doing 2 legions. Actually,
we did, and that's what I thought. I kind of thought, well, I've done 3 Knights and the Warlord, which is obviously half the Grandmaster set. So I could just say that's it for my Grandmaster set and then start with doing some Traitor Legions. And then you see what I could do. Because I had a Traitor Titan Legion, I'd need a Traitor Legion, Space Marine Legion. So I'd obviously have no choice but to do World Eaters for Heresy. And then, like...
No one saw that coming.
No. And then, like,
snuck that in from the side.
Yeah. My fall from grace would be complete then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Heresy in every game. I did say the other day when I posted a picture of my progress on the Helldrakes on Twitter, I believe that painting the Helldrakes is my punishment from the Emperor for my transgressions.
Nah. Nowhere near bad enough.
No, well, maybe not. So
if your hand starts to bleed like that punishment quill from Harry Potter, and it starts writing "I am a heretic" with every brushstroke you take, then that's the Emperor punishing you.
Okay, so I get a quick hobby product review. I bought the new Citadel water pot, dude.
Oh yeah,
in Warhammer World,
with all the weird grooves and bubbles and
with all the grooves and weirdness on it.
Any good, or is it just a tub?
It looks ace.
I don't care how it looks, dude. I can buy a mug to make it look good.
It does. Those grooves on the back, you can use them to point your brush.
I can use my mouth for that.
Yeah, of course you can. And it's good because on the bottom it's got like ridges, so especially for dry brushing brushes, it helps with getting the paint off the bristles. But Dan Wasley still flipping nearly fell off the chair laughing when he came round the other day and sat down and seen I'd bought one. And he was like, "You'd buy anything with Citadel on?" And I was like, "Yeah, I would."
Well, in fairness, they're a reasonable price. £5 is a reasonable price.
Yeah. I liked it. I thought I'd give it a go.
I use a stainless steel, like, I don't know how to describe it, but a pot is probably the best way. I don't even know what it is that I got from a pound shop in Southampton when I was living there. And it almost looks like a shell casing, like of a big shell.
Yeah.
My grandma, I'm sure it was my grandma or my great-grandma, used to have a shell casing to cook in.
Did she?
Yeah, to bake cakes in and stuff. I'm sure she did. But it looks a lot like that. And I was saying to Joe the other day as I was pouring out a batch of water that had been sat in there for a week and a half, that it is made of the most incredible steel because it hasn't rusted, and I've abused the hell out of it for well over 10 years. Probably 15 years I've been abusing this paint pot. So that's what I use. And it's a nice big one. I like big ones because when I use metallics, if you use a little bit of metallic in a big pot, it doesn't really pollute the other paints all that much.
No.
But if you remember the little tiny pots that Games Workshop used to have when we were working there, if you used any metallic and put it in there, that was metallic water from that point onwards, really.
Yeah, well, I'm glad I picked up one of those pots recently because they're very useful for if you want to clean your brushes and you want to suspend them in brush cleaner overnight.
Yeah.
The old Games Workshop pot is excellent because it's got the things it's got the bits that you put the brushes in and it holds them suspended in the contents.
Oh, right. I guess they don't sell that anymore.
I don't think they do now, no.
I'd find that more useful than all the grooves and nooks and bubbles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it didn't have a really cool embossed Citadel logo on it.
Oh, right, okay. Do you know, the most important thing for the new Citadel thing, for me, is that it's got a wide butt, so I'm less likely to knock the thing over, because I'm terrible for knocking stuff over. Terrible.
You like big butts and you cannot lie.
Yeah, because none of the plates go flying. So, yeah.
They've brought out new paint racks as well, hobby-wise.
Yeah. They're one of those things where in the pictures I'm a bit like, I don't really get why I'd spend that much money on that. But I reckon I need to sit down with them and have a little play with them to understand them.
Yeah, I do like the project box things. I like those for carrying projects around.
Yeah.
But I've got one already. But it's still good to see. Yeah, so anyway, I think that's pretty much... I don't think I've done anything else hobby-wise, building stuff.
I had to do an order for airbrush stuff that cost me 50 odd quid.
Well, yeah, but you're better off to do a big chunk in one go, aren't you, then?
I've accidentally ordered 2 pots of flow improver. Now, I've got a little pot of 32 mils of flow improver, Vallejo flow improver here that's lasted me for well over a year. And I've just bought 2, by accident, 200 ml pots of flow improver. So that will probably last me until I die, I think. But there we are. Maybe I just use it as water. So, answers on a postcard. Uses for flow improver other than through an airbrush. There must be somebody who uses it for something. It must have some virtuous property for painting with normally.
Well, to be honest, it was a good job it wasn't there when we were in Warhammer World on the Saturday night, because I'd have probably drunk it.
Yeah, that's very true. That is very true. I tell you what I am having trouble with. Do you remember the big old, you got the Citadel Mega Paint Ujima box when they first released the new... Well, I got that for Christmas when it came out. And, because I got them all at the same time, all my paints seem to be dying at the same time.
Oh.
Like, either running out or, if I use them a lot, drying out. I'm terrible for leaving a paint pot open on the desk when I'm not using it. So, I can see me having to shell out a load of money to replenish my hobby stock in a minute. Which is
that's your own fault if you keep leaving paints open. That's because you work in like a frenzy.
I do. I'm unashamed of that. I wash up in a frenzy as well. If I'm going to wash up, I wash up with vigour. I end up with water from head to foot and all over the floor and get told off for it.
Well, I don't think you should be told off. I think you should be applauded for doing any washing up.
I hate washing up.
I'm sensing that we're coming away from the hobby desk now, so I think probably time to move on.
Yeah.
Before we talk about the joys of washing up.
I have a whole section of washing up.
We'll add that one in. What could we call it? What could we call it? Fun in the kitchen or something?
Yeah.
No. It's a good job we do a hobby podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we struggle enough at making that good, and with names like that, we definitely should do one about cleaning the kitchen.
Fun in the kitchen. That sounds like Sheldon's Fun with Flags, dude.
Let's move on. God. We will see you in the grim darkness. Welcome to the grim darkness, which is actually really flippin' sweet right now because there is some cool stuff coming out, isn't there, dude?
There's a lot of cool stuff coming out.
Oh, it's just ridiculous.
Almost so much that I'm being ill. I haven't really sat down and had a good old look at it all. I felt a little bit like, whoa.
Yeah, I know. The question is, who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Is this a trick question? Because
Yeah, of course it's a trick question. I've known you for a long time. You're Marneus. You have to say, I am Marneus Calgar.
Oh, of course, yeah. I was going to say Spartacus for a second.
What? Spartacus totally ripped Games Workshop off.
Yeah, true.
So, how do you feel about Marneus Calgar, dude, and the Rubicon Primaris?
Well, let's rewind 12...
No, I'm talking about Marneus.
Yeah, no, I know. 12 months, right back to when we started this whole 8th edition.
Well, it's longer than that now.
Yeah, well, it is, isn't it? It's a year and a half. And they said that on all the sort of interviews, they kept talking about how Space Marines would be able to be reborn into Primaris. And then as soon as the box set came out, nothing. Not a whisper. Not in any of the books. Not in the Space Marine book. Nothing. Almost to the point that when they released that little sneaky bit, like a couple of days before weekend, it never even occurred to me that would be what they were going to announce.
No.
And that's, no bones about it. Marneus Calgar was a vessel, and I'm not a massive Ultramarine fan. I like the Ultramarines, but he was the right choice. He was the first Space Marine character. He's had, iterations throughout the whole process of 40k. So he feels like the right one to do first, personally. There will be people who disagree. But he is a vessel for saying, we are going to be rebuilding the captains, or the characters, as it were, over time into Primaris.
Yeah.
I flippin' love that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I do. And I know it's a shame all of my old Space Marine models will become slightly redundant.
If you're lucky, Games Workshop will refund you for them.
I think...
No, I know. I'm being sarcastic. I think the thing is, people do get passionate because they love their hobby, but you've also got to be realistic, haven't you? Of course, there's going to be new stuff. Things get upgraded, don't they?
Well, yeah. I'm hoping that we don't see... I think it would be a real loss so quickly to get rid of the Space Marines as a thing.
I don't think... See, the thing is...
but I can't see it happening.
The 41st Millennium, or the Galaxy, they aren't going to... Well, I say they aren't. I very much doubt in our lifetimes they would do away with it being set in that galaxy and in that setting. Unlike, obviously, what happened with Warhammer Fantasy. And therefore, Space Marines, because they've chosen to do it this way, to scale up the Space Marines, but through the background, there will always be a period in 40k history where, and quite awesome periods as well. You're talking the Heresy and the Beast Arises era, where what we would now term normal Adeptus Astartes existed.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that 40k through the ages has got a real power to it.
Yeah.
And maybe we won't see all the variety that we used to, or maybe they'll streamline that variety down to, a couple of units, perhaps. So you'll lose some of the stuff around the edges. Maybe.
But then
that's all right.
You have to look at the release schedule and the amount of stuff that's coming out.
No, I'm thinking more about getting. So at the moment, the Space Marine range is massive. The 30k range is slightly smaller, but I can see that being streamlined into. So you won't have some of the more niche units in there. You'll have maybe 20 or 10 core boxes of Astartes.
Oh, right, I see.
That you'll be able to play around with, and they will stay on the shelf, and the Primaris range will grow. But I can't see.
Oh, I see.
So you won't be able to necessarily get, I don't know, let's say for example, a Thunderfire cannon or something for 40k, because there'll be a new one. You'll lose those kind of bits around the edges, perhaps. But I don't think that, I can't see them ever, or in the foreseeable future, going. So I'm not too worried about it. But I think it's really easy, and it happened with Age of Sigmar to get, and I'm not going to let it happen to me with 40k, to get bitter about it. And I can understand why people do. I was so bitter about Age of Sigmar, or the loss of Warhammer Fantasy, that it put me off for a long time. But the bottom line is, I much prefer now a Primaris model to an Astartes model. I think they're fantastic. They're bigger. They give you more room to sort of paint. I think they look better. And that's a personal opinion. I know it is, but I'm quite happy with that change. And I feel like it would have been really easy to get bitter about it and not embrace that. And then it ruined my hobby, and I don't want my hobby to be ruined.
Well, no.
Really? That's my feeling about it. The model itself, I love it.
Yep.
It looks boss.
To be honest, I love the model of Marneus. I flipping over the moon with his bodyguards.
Yeah. Interesting that there's not quite so much detail on both of them. So they've kept that cleaner look.
Yes, yeah.
Which is, I think, brave and very honest. So they haven't gone over the top with it, because, and by honest, I mean honest to the background. A suit of Mark 10 is 100 years old at the most, whereas a suit of Honor Guard armour, Mark 8 or 7, is going to be, potentially, 5,000 years old. So
yeah, sure.
So it's going to be significantly more embellished just by the fact that it's been worn by probably a couple of hundred people, frankly.
Yeah.
So I like that cleaner look, but I hope as time goes by, the armour will get more and more intricate. You get more detail on it, but that time will tell with that. But
yeah. So we've talked about the lesser character of the Vigilus Defiant book. So there's also Harken World Claimer, Herald of the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So I think he looks immense. He's so dynamic. It's cool as well because he is Abaddon's herald. So Abaddon's on the way. Hurrah!
Well, hopefully, yeah, because...
Well, he's got to be. You can't have a herald and then not have the main man turn up.
Well, you can.
No, lies, right?
You get heralds of chaos all over the place and you don't see the chaos gods turning up. They're too cowardly.
Maybe. Interesting.
He's a nice model, isn't
Defiant, the book. Oh, he is a nice model, yeah. He is a nice model. I see Night Lords players enjoying him a lot. The book itself is massive. It's not like I thought it was going to be. It's 200 pages long and it costs 45 quid.
Yeah, it's more like the Realm Wars books, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I do have one concern with it, though. I do have a concern. Yeah, I do. Because up until now, one of the features of 8th edition has been to streamline things as much as possible. And that included books. And really, at the moment, to play a game of Warhammer 40k, you need a piece of rule card, if you need that, your codex, and chapter approved. And whatever FAQ you needed to print off for your codex. If you need multiple codexes, that's a decision that you've made. But essentially, you only need those 2 books and your rule pamphlet. These things that are in there, their formations, means that you now need 3 books, which is a bit of a pain in the ass, I think. It's not a huge concern, but it does start to get a little bit like 7th edition, where you had like your Wolfen formation in the Fenris campaign book, for example, and another formation in another book, and I can find that a bit frustrating.
I kind of feel like, from a book's point of view, they've kind of thrown out the window the whole streamlining the amount of books you need thing, because you've got, the very existence of chapter approved and the living FAQs. I saw an interesting debate about it online between people who liked it and people who didn't. And I think it is cool having a living rule set especially if you are you're very into your matched play,
yes,
because you're going to want to know that it's a balanced system. But I think as a more casual gamer, it gets a little bit frustrating just making sure you're on top of all these things. But it is how it is, I suppose, isn't it? It's interesting. I'll have to consider it, because £45 is obviously a fair whack. And I don't play 40k loads. I play loads of games, so I'll just have to see what I think the impact will be on my hobby. I think if it was Abaddon himself, then I'd be, and then Marneus Calgar, I'd be on it, but we shall see. Talking of chapter approved.
Yeah.
I'm excited because my army got cheaper.
Way.
So, all I knew to start with was that cultists were going up, and I was like, oh. But it's okay, because pretty much everything else came down in points.
I haven't really seen that, because obviously the rules or the numbers have been leaked a little bit now, but I haven't really had a good chance to look through, see what effect it's had on my Space Wolves. Or even just the Astartes in general.
No, I've not looked at anything other than Chaos. My Helldrakes went down, my Maulathine went down, my Hellbrutes went down. And not by little amounts. Khan the Betrayer went from 160 to 120 points.
Really?
Yeah.
Quite a lot, really.
There's a big difference, isn't it? The Forge Fiends went down by 35 points each. No, 35 or 30? 30 points each, I think. And the Hellbrutes went down by 35 each. So, yeah. Some big drops. Some very big drops. And what else was there? Well, the Sisters of Battle Codex in there, which is going to be interesting to see. Because I've just started listening to... I can't remember what it's called. the second of the Herusian
All right, yeah.
trilogy, the Inquisitor Covenant, and in there's a battle sister of, is it the Ebon Chalice? Is that right? Possibly. Anyway, that made me think, I like the sound of Sisters of Battle, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. That sounds cool. So lots of stuff.
I like Chapter Approved as a concept a lot. I like the idea that the rules balance, all the numbers balance every year. Yeah, pretty keen on that actually. So,
today, Cawdor weapon packs. Huzzah!
They look ace as well.
Yeah, I've ordered them.
Some barking weapons on there.
Yeah, I know. It's mental, isn't it? Just mad. I've got 2 boxes of Cawdor gangers unopened on the shelf waiting. I bought them about a month ago. Yeah, waiting for these weapon packs to turn up. And now they're out. Hurrah! So I just got to wait.
Yeah, it was nice that the Delac book came as a book in White Dwarf.
That was excellent.
Love that.
And it looks good as well, doesn't it? It's not like naff. I think it's ace.
It's well made.
So, yeah.
I'm trying to decide whether or not to pick up the other 2 Gang Wars or actually just throw the towel in and get the whole lot together.
I think if you don't pick them up, you should get rid of the other 2, because otherwise it will haunt you forever. Not have it.
That is the truth.
It is.
The missing missile pod syndrome. Happens, man.
I don't know, though. I've knocked the microphone now. I don't believe, and I might be wrong, actually there's probably a little bit more about Delac in the gang one, isn't there? I'm not sure if there's any additional content. Is there additional content in those 2 books that isn't covered by Gang War?
Well, it's been tidied up. The FAQs have been integrated into them.
Yeah, so
the rules are effectively if you play Necromunda, are a must because it includes the full set of rules, as in the 3-dimensional rules rather than just 2D. So I think it's probably a must, the rule book. The gang ones, I think the fact that they've released the Delac ones separately is an indicator that you could just have the Gang Wars books and you'd be okay. That there's nothing new or massive in there that's changed, but it just brings them all together in one place, I think. I can't say for sure, but that's the impression I've got. Otherwise, they wouldn't have released the Delac book.
Yeah, that's true.
They would have just gone, the rules are in the new one. But it's a nicely done book. I'm impressed with it. I like White Dwarf doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
It feels like a long time since you could get cut out vehicle cards in the White Dwarf.
Yeah.
Actually made of cardboard. You had to pull them out.
There's a limited edition slipcase version with both the books in it.
Yeah, I know.
That looks so good. I'm going to want that. These specialist games are getting me, man. They're just shivving my wallet and running off with it. Because I convinced myself that it's okay because I'm only going to do one faction. I'm only doing Cawdor. So it's not going to, it's not going to be expensive. I'm only doing Cawdor. So far, for my only doing Cawdor, I've got the Underhive box set, 4 Gang Wars, dice, cards, the Bad Zone Delta cards, the Bad Zone Delta tiles, the territory cards, and 3 boxes of gangers and 2 lots of weapons packs. But it's okay because I'm only doing 1 gang.
Yeah.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy.
It is, yeah.
And then Titanicus is similar. Because by the time you get all the buildings and load of Titans, and then they're going to bring out campaign books. I'm going to want them. And then Blood Bowl's not quite as bad maybe, but even Blood Bowl, like I've got the Almanac and I've got 2-box teams of orcs, and then I've got the cheerleaders, and I've got the troll and some goblins. So yeah, bloody specialist games. I love them.
They are amazing. That's half the problem.
Yep.
That they have been really well done.
Have you had a chance to look at Blackstone Fortress yet?
Well, Blackstone Fortress is a bit of a thing, actually. Normally, I get a product, and practically before I've sat down, when I get home from work, I've torn it open and looked at everything and got excited. And I opened Blackstone Fortress a couple of days ago, but well over a week since I got it.
I know. I remember you saying, I was like flipping out. You must have been ill.
I couldn't face it. It just sat there, and I couldn't mount the energy to even get excited about that. So, yeah, no, I haven't. I have had it open for a couple of days though, and the models are everything that I wanted them to be. They're stunning. It's difficult to know where to start. They're so nice, to be honest. As in which model to do first. I noticed a lot of people have done the robot first, which is quite interesting, but I don't think I will. I might choose something else. I quite fancy doing the ratlings, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Really like them. They're really nice in person. Would be cool to see a plastic rattling box, actually. So I'd really like the old metal ones. I've got a squad of them somewhere. Yeah, no, the game is... I know this is going to sound a little bit bizarre, but the quality of it is a step up from anything that they've done already. So there's a ton of stuff in there that didn't necessarily need to be in there, like special pouches to keep your stuff in between games.
Yeah.
There's that in there. The card stock for the board pieces is glorious and so well cut that it practically falls out. You don't need to push it at all. Not really. So you didn't get any of that splitting or tearing that you can do sometimes when you're taking out cardstock. Yeah, it's just overall the quality is very, very good. I think I would have preferred having the books all together in one book and hardback. Perhaps. Mm-hmm. Because it comes in 4 or 5 pamphlet books, but that's a preference thing. I love the fact that there's an envelope in there that says do not open until you finish the game. And if anyone spoils that for me, I'm going to utterly fall to pieces. I'm going to be like, as bad as when someone broke the news that Han Solo died in the Star Wars film before I went to see it. Gutting. So, yeah. So first, that's my first impression. I was going to do an unboxing because it had been sat on my shelf boxed, but every time I went to go and do it, I looked at myself in the mirror and saw a haggard, coughing, spluttering mess and thought no one wants to see that, so I just opened it in the end.
So I was talking to Chris, and he's got it. And his impression was much like you, excellent quality, looks really good. But he's been quite surprised by the lack of narrative. Less narrative he felt than Silver Tower. You know how in Silver Tower each thing you do, you get like a little lead-in paragraph and background.
Yeah.
So we've not played it yet, so we'll have to see. But that was just an impression he had, which is why I thought I'd ask you about it. But I don't suppose you've got far enough to gauge that yet.
No, I shall probably put together all the bits in there and play it over the Christmas holidays with my brother.
Yeah.
And Joe, give it a shot. We've played Silver Tower and enjoyed that, so it seems like a reasonable thing to do.
Well, cool. Anything else, sir, you'd like to cover off in the Galaxy of War?
No, it's a bit unfortunate, actually, isn't it? Because you get so much stuff that you can't really sit down and talk about each thing in as much detail as you'd hope.
No.
But no, I think It's an exciting time for 40k, I think. I think we're about to see... I think Vigilus is the start of something, rather than the something.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely.
A really good indicator is that if you go on the Warhammer community page, if you go to the top, it now says news, features, irregulars, Vigilus.
Yeah.
So... I think it's going to be the malign portents of 2019.
Yeah.
So there we go. It's exciting. Looking forward to it. And I think it's time now, talking about malign portents, to head off into the Mortal Realms, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Mortal Realms. We've just been having a look through the community website and the White Dwarf, actually, and it isn't just us, but it appears that we are in the calm before the storm. So, not a great deal going on, really, when it comes to releases. So, we thought we'd just have a natter about what we've seen that's been cool, really. If that's all right with everybody.
Well, we sort of sat here for a bit. Well, we sat here both listening to silence because we hadn't realised that we'd lost the phone connection, and I was waiting for Ben and Ben was waiting for me. So that was some well spent time.
It was in fact vastly more interesting than you as well.
Whoa! I don't know what to say. But well done for getting in there before I did.
Yeah, well, I thought I was preemptive to strike it, so.
Applause there. So, yeah, the Mortal Realms, like Ben says, little bit of a lull at the moment. Very excited to see the Moonclan Grots. I'm assuming as well that Wrath and Rapture, well, it has, hasn't it? It's got a booklet about the Mortal Realms and a booklet about Galaxy of War. Well, 40k.
Yes, yeah, so...
in there, so there'll be some stuff in there for that. I'm quite looking forward to that. I'm not sure whether to pick up the box. I'm going to have to wait and see what the price point is, because I don't really want any more Bloodletters or Blood Crushers, because I just don't want to paint more Blood Crushers, to be honest, being the main reason.
Well, you could always see which bits you like out of it and sort of pick the bits out from Bitsbox.
Yeah, or just wait until they come out individual release, which could be quite a long time, but
it could.
It's not like I haven't got stuff to be working on, is it?
No, but the books might be an interesting purchase, because they did an article on the Realm of Chaos, actually, as a sort of prelim thing on Warhammer Community, which is quite interesting, and I wonder if they're not going to take the opportunity to explore the background for those a little bit more.
That's true.
Bring them up to date a little bit, particularly the Age of Sigmar half. I liked the article actually. I just reread it. It's quite good. Describing the Realm of Chaos is the kind of task that drives a mortal mind mad. Imagine trying to count all the grains of sand on a beach, except every grain of sand is made of insanity. The beach is upside down and on fire. Do that, and you're still not even close to grasping how bonkers the Realm of Chaos is. So, I think this might well be a worthwhile little pamphlet to pick up.
Yeah,
it might be worth just popping into Games Workshop and seeing if they have an open copy to have a look at.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Because I mean, like Tooth and Claw had some background for Vigilus in, but it's only a couple of pages. It certainly wasn't worth buying the whole box set for the background, but separately on Bitsbox, just imagine you'd be able to pick them up for maybe a $5 a book or something.
Yeah.
That's
true. Karanak's quite cool in Age of Sigmar. He can summon his own little unit of hounds.
Excellent.
Which is obviously free, or built into his points cost, I suppose. I love the model. I do love the model. I did see a wonderful thing, which was like the central head shouting, "Why have my armpits got heads?" which I thought was quite funny. But I do love the model. and it's quite big as well. It's on the larger, not the flying stand oval, but the sort of size that you get the monstrous cavalry on.
Yeah.
So like the juggernauts.
Yeah,
he's on one of those.
He's a big one, isn't he? Really?
Yeah, he's big. Yeah. So looking forward to them. Ideally, I'd like to get him and 5 hounds to start with. I did want to buy 8 boxes of hounds, but that's just silly.
Yeah, you did talk about 8 boxes of hounds. I wondered how long that would take.
Yeah.
Before that.
Well,
to be honest, dude, they're not a thing that will take you long to paint.
No, they won't take long to paint.
So,
but everything takes time to paint. I've got 30 bloodletters I want to paint, so to get them done. But anyway, yeah, loads of stuff to paint.
I mean, really, Wrath and Rapture and Karanak are the only release things that have been hinted at, to be honest.
Well, yes.
As in, since we spoke last, because we have had a chat about the goblins.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, a little bit thin on the ground. There is an interesting decision. There's a scenario for fighting a gargant or a giant in
Underworlds,
isn't there?
Yeah, and you've got a free card in the White Dwarf. And I tell you what, sometimes Games Workshop understands collectors perfectly. Sometimes I wonder if they're not having a go just because it's funny. They've made that card a large card rather than the same size as everything else, so it doesn't fit in any of the boxes that I have for Underworlds, and it's driving me mental. I don't have a card sleeve for it, but it looks like a good scenario, so that's the positive side of that. But I wish you'd made it as a normal size card. But then I suppose it's cool because it's a bigger side card, and I'm just whinging like a child. So,
see, from a marketing point of view, I'd have made it the same size, and I'd have made it a numbered card. Because then people that enjoy Nightvault or what have you have to, if they want the collection of all of the official cards, they'd have to pick up White Dwarf. And then they might go through White Dwarf and see, like, I quite like look at this, 40k, and then buy 40k.
Well, it would have been nice to sort of have a series of them, really. So not just the Chaos Gargant, but normal giant or other monsters. Throw in there and have a bit of a laugh. No, the rules were.
I thought it was interesting that they'd gone for. Sorry, I was getting distracted. Gone for a narrative type scenario for the game, which is coined as the ultimate competitive miniatures game.
Yeah.
Not saying that people can't enjoy a narrative thing. I just was surprised, that's all.
Yeah, but it's good fun though, isn't it? I mean, it feels a lot like Bugman's Bar. It's just a bit of silliness, I think. It's not something that's ever going to make it into competition, but it just see a lot of Shadespire players giving it a go just because it's fun. It is just flicked over the page in that actually and noticed that the command console for the new Cerastus Knight banner is printed in the White Dwarf in full, so you could cut it out and turn it into a card if you wanted to, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
In fact, it's even got the permission granted to photocopy for personal use thing on it.
Oh, that's good. Which
goes back to what I was saying about previous White Dwarfs and how you could get cards in it. But anyway, we're off topic. So the other thing that's come out from the Mortal Realms, or Warhammer world, as it were, is the Blood Bowl team, the Undead Blood Bowl team.
Oh, yes.
Now
and an Orc booster as well.
Yeah, an Orc booster. Really like the Orc booster. It's got Black Orc in, which is always exciting. And they're different poses as well, as far as I could see.
Yes, they are.
Just find the page with the Undead team on. So, Undead. I always liked Undead because they were different, like significantly different. Normally in Blood Bowl, you either had what I called a flat team, so everything was the same size, or a kind of multi-level team where you had lots of small stuff and a big thing.
Yep.
Undead, I've always felt, it's one of the teams that just breaks outside of those two basic models. Because you have such a range of weirdness in the team, from a shambling zombie who's going to do what, to this time around they've got a whopping great mummy blitzer that's like the size of a Black Orc easily.
Yeah.
But they used to have, in the older teams, they used to have vampires and goodness knows what in there. So you had really, really powerful players and really, really bad ones in the same team. And all in the same sort of scale. So
yeah.
I think they're a really exciting alternative to mix up the game. So I'm really excited to see how they play. And the Shambling Undead pitch looks quite good too.
Yes, it does. I like the fact that there's like it in the night,
yeah,
and it in the day. I love that,
with ghosts coming out. So
yeah, it's brilliant, and the spirits have arrived, and yeah, it's great. There's going to be lots of the sounds of flicking in this episode because White Dwarf's only just sort of arrived.
Yeah,
I like the markers as well.
Yes, yeah,
like the hand. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
I like the always like the markers and the tokens, and I like when you see. In fact, in this issue of White Dwarf, you can see in the Golden Demon that often when people paint a team to go into a competition, they paint the markers really well to go with them.
Yeah,
I really like that because I enjoyed painting the markers. They were different and unusual. I suppose it's worthwhile we're talking about Blood Bowl, talking about Spike.
Yep.
And how that's now sort of evolved into the second almanac.
Yeah, I seem to remember though that Tony Cottrell spoke about this. That was always the plan.
Yeah. I suppose what I'm interested to see is whether or not that almanac has anything further than the Spike magazines.
Yeah, I think it will because it's 144 pages.
Yeah.
I think it's got some of the stuff about some special balls that have come out in White Dwarf since the last almanac.
Makes it a real struggle, actually. As much as I like compiling them all into one, I've got all of the Spike magazines, and it frustrates me a little bit that I'm going to have to get, if there is other stuff in that book. And I suppose you don't have to because it's all in the White Dwarfs, but it does make sense to have it all together. And then what I'm getting at is I almost feel like next year I'm not going to buy the Spike magazines, I'm going to wait for the almanac.
Yeah, I'm a little bit like that.
Change the way I do it, because same with the Gang Wars. But then you want the rules if there's something new comes out that you like and you want it before the end of the... I don't know. Very frustrating.
I think for you, I would say that you should not buy Spike.
I've got three of the damn.
I know you've already got 3, but that's too late now. That's happened. You can give them away to some lucky listeners to encourage them to play Blood Bowl. But I think because you're a collector of the books and stuff, and I think that a nice hardback book just suits more.
Yeah, no, I know. Problem is, you're right,
and you're not. It's not like you're actively playing the games a lot, is it? So you don't need the rules like right now.
Yeah, no, you are right. It's just frustrating. It's frustrating.
I agree. I don't know. I actually haven't decided what I'm going to do yet.
No. Yeah. So that's the Blood Bowl news and the Shadespire news. For the actual game itself, Age of Sigmar, the real, the linchpin of all of this madness, there doesn't seem to be a great deal going on.
Nah, but that's okay. There was a massive run of it.
Yeah.
And it's nice to just have a pause, little pause, breathe in.
Yeah.
Before it all goes mad again. And to be honest, I don't need any more encouragement. I've just kind of wrapped up that... Well, I've not wrapped it up. You never wrap up a project, but brought that project to a point where I'm happy enough to crack on and do a bit of 40k, and I want to do Necromunda. There is a little thing in the back of White Dwarf. Hang on a minute. Warhammer Age of Sigmar Skirmish next month. In January. So updates to the skirmish for Age of Sigmar, so that's quite exciting because
Yeah, it is.
That'd be nice to do something small and lead into the possibility of Age of Sigmar kill team type thing. So that'd be good.
Yeah, it would.
Very good. So that'd be nice.
It's I think when it comes to what I'm looking forward to, it's got to be the goblins over everything. But I'm a bit perplexed that they haven't actually released the 2 Shadespire teams yet. Teams, gangs, warbands.
The troll.
The troll and the Dark Oath War Queen slot.
Yeah, but aren't we only like part way through? When did Nightvault come out?
No, but they've been on the cards for a while, dude. I would have expected them to... I would have expected them to be around by now.
Oh, you're very demanding, aren't you?
I am. I'm super demanding. I want them. I wanted them for Christmas, but I put them on a Christmas list, and everyone keeps asking where they are, and I'm like, I don't know. So I've had to change it to Gandalf and Pippin, and I'm not sad about that at all.
No, not at all. I've completely forgotten what I was going to say.
No loss to us.
No,
not really.
I kind of need to go back and carry on with my Blood Bowl Orcs at some point, get that troll done.
Have you constructed the troll?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely.
It's a superb model.
Oh, yeah, it is. It's a bit like a Puzz 3D.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
And building it up, isn't it?
I've been watching a lot of American football game films recently.
Oh, yes.
In my time being ill. So I'm quite keen to paint the humans, actually. And
I gave my humans... Well, no, I think I sold them, actually, to Dan Wasley in the hope that it might convince him to play something else. But that didn't work.
You sold your humans?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
To be honest, it's all completely out of sorts, isn't it, really? It's only because I spent so long on the Orcs that I've invested in them. I should be doing the Chaos All-Stars.
Yeah.
Really.
Well, yeah. Yep. I think actually, out of all of the teams, they're my least favourite, I have to be honest.
Are they?
Yeah.
They don't like you much either.
No, well, I don't blame them. But they're nice, but compared to the others, I don't find them...
Oh, the Beastmen, though, mate. The Beastmen look flipping amazing.
Yeah.
Talking of Beastmen, I've put a Beastman Herdstone on my Christmas wish list.
Why?
Well, because I kind of like the idea of adding some Beastmen to my collection and giving them the corn keyword.
Oh, that's quite cool.
And
yeah. What, would you paint them in a kind of corny colour? A bit reddier?
Reddy browns, I think.
Yeah, that's quite cool.
And lots of skulls. I think that would be cool.
Lots of skulls.
Yeah. And I thought, well, the Herdstone is a cool piece of chaotic scenery anyway.
Yes, it is.
So I thought, well, if I put it on my Christmas list, because I don't normally... Harriet and I and family and all, we don't go that mad with Christmas. And to be honest, with Joshua now, I'm more focused on him. So, like, if I got the Herdstone, what is it, $17.50? That would be like my Games Workshop present. So I thought, well, then I can just leave it up to the gods of chaos then, can't I? And if I get it, then I must be destined to do a Beastman army.
That'll never happen.
So yeah,
You'll go.
that's fine.
You'll go and buy all the Beastmen and have them in your shelf for a month, and then realise that you need to paint more corn.
Yeah, but they are corn.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be corn enough.
Beastly corn.
I do like them, actually. I like the concept of Beastmen a lot. There's some primal and... yeah. And the Dark Oath. I could see a Dark Oath Beastman army being quite good fun.
Oh, they're going to come out at some point as well, aren't they?
Yes, yes they are. In fact, looking forward to next year. It's a bright future for Age of Sigmar.
Well, I'm really interested to see what comes along on the Age of Sigmar Open Day.
When is that?
It's usually June time, but it's like...
It's a long time to wait.
Yeah, but before that we've got...
Warhammer Fest. Woohoo!
Warhammer Fest.
Yeah, so I thought I'd draw it to a close there because I think Age of Sigmar it's a 40k high. It's an Age of Sigmar low. We've had a little bits and bobs. Wrath and Rapture will kick it off again, and then we'll be into Goblins and Dark Oath and goodness knows what.
And to be fair to us, we've done a reasonable job at talking about nothing for 21 minutes.
Yeah, that's most of our conversations, to be honest, dude.
Yeah. Cool. Let's go and celebrate our wondrous community. Hail to our glorious community. So this is the part where Ben and I talk about upcoming events. So we haven't got loads this time round, just mainly because with Ben being unwell, we've not managed to get them all on, because, well, I just haven't done it, to be honest. So there's no other real excuse. So we do that, and then Ben's got his usual shout outs. And I've got some as well. So Ben, do you want to just go through? I think there was 3 or 4 events on there.
Yeah. There's one this weekend that just gone. I'm really happy to say that Barbs of Red Ruth have been running a 40k event, which is very exciting, and I'm glad they're doing that. Long may they continue. It's been the Throne of Skulls in the weekend just gone, which is excellent too. For Middle-earth, Dan. And there's been,
really?
And there's been loads of great pictures on the Great British Hobbit League, which I'm gonna shout them out because frankly they are one of the best communities online. They kept the Hobbit going through the dark times when there wasn't any support from Games Workshop. And not only did they keep it going, they kept it going positively and, in a really good way. So Great British Hobbit League, it's a Facebook page primarily, I think. So worth going on there and, if you're interested, but they've just, Warhammer World have just run the first Throne of Skulls for Middle-earth strategy battle game, and it looks ace. And the armies look ace.
That's great, isn't it?
Really, really excited about that, actually, because it's a good indicator that they're going to support it properly moving forward. So kudos to the guys at Warhammer World for doing that. Also one that I don't know if we called out properly, but Terra's had a couple of events this weekend as well. So is Curtin, Underworld Championships, I think, for both of them. So it's good to see that sort of carrying on. I like the Underworlds game, Shadespire, Nightvault, that kind of stuff. So that's cool to see that going. But that's also what's been, and it's looking forward. And unfortunately, like Dan said, I haven't really had time to sit down and do it. Or not time. I've had plenty of time, just haven't had the energy. So, weekend after this is graced Podbean, so Saturday the 15th of December is Terra Games Paintathon, last man sitting before Christmas. Love a good paintathon. Really good way to meet people that you haven't met before, perhaps, or get to know people that you've just gamed with briefly in the evenings. I just think they're great social events. So if you're local to Terra, that's definitely worth a shot. And they've got a great venue, well set up, and run by some really nice people. So, worth popping along to that.
Their venue is fantastic.
Yeah.
Really good.
X-Wing Wave 2 Championships at Curtin is on the same day, 15th. And if anyone knows how to run an X-Wing Championship, it will be them. So that's definitely worth going along to. And then, really, there's 2 weeks of nothing. But I suspect, actually, there's 2 weeks of nothing because it's Christmas. To be honest. Because we have got some stuff early January. 5th, it kicks off at Element again with a winter warm-up 40k event. And then... Yeah, the first couple of weeks of January don't look particularly full either. But that could be because I haven't put them on there, or because people are having a break. So Christmas is its own kind of event in itself, isn't it? So...
Yeah, well, I know Jim's got the Winter Tides 40k tournament on the 6th of January.
Excellent.
Yeah. That's always good, for a bit of 40k. And also, I'm just thinking, what's the date today? The 7th? So there's, what's that? Big's Mega Prize Showdown tomorrow. What is this to do with? A card game.
Excellent.
But I can't work out what. That's good, isn't it? It says, we have some leftover Season 1 and a large quantity of Season 2 kit prizes. Oh, the Shogun Showdown and Stronghold Showdown.
Oh, that'll be Shogun card game, yeah.
Yeah, there we go then. So that's good. So lots of giveaways going on at that one if you're into that. And Kill Team Friday on the 14th and Friday Night X-Wing on the 21st. So there's a couple of things there at Big.
Yep.
Going on. So you shout outs, dude.
Yeah, so I've got first of all, congratulations really, because it's a model that I absolutely love, and it's a chap that has been really supportive of us, and I just want to say congratulations to Tommy Saul for his Ragnar Blackmane winning a trophy at the Golden Demon. Absolutely chuffed to bits with that. It's probably my favourite model. Well, just about every... It's Space Wolf, it's Ragnar Blackmane. It's got some advantages from the offset, but there is no better reimagining of Ragnar Blackmane as far as I'm concerned. So I'm dead chuffed to see that. So congratulations to Tommy.
It is utterly amazing.
It is. And when he said he'd won, I was like, oh, please let it be Ragnar Blackmane. And it was Ragnar Blackmane. So yeah, dead excited about that. So a couple of others. One of them is, we've shouted out before, but he did a conversion, before I shouted him out for his Death Guard, which are done in really dark colours with bright green tentacles and goo, and they look ace. And I'm not really a massive Death Guard fan, to be honest, but as soon as I saw them, I was like, oh, I could just do an army like that. I'd love that. Absolutely loved it. But he has turned his hand more recently to doing a Primaris conversion for White Scars. And it is bonkers good. Absolutely brilliant. So he's drawing a sword, sword's glowing, it's just magnificent. And that's Mike Ingram, his handle is Mezgike. I've no idea what that's short for. Mezgike. On Instagram, and it's just a belter of a model. Absolutely brilliant. So he has got a Patreon, and he's done little... I'm afraid I can't try out Patreons to know what the quality of all the stuff is, because if I signed up to everyone's Patreons I liked, I think I'd be broke within a day, to be honest. But he just sort of ports some stuff across for his Patreon, little snippets, and it looks really good. So if you're big into his style, it would be worth having a look at his Patreon, see what that's about. Yeah, absolutely love that White Scar dude. It's mental. Even the conversion is brilliant. Let alone the paint job.
Oh, mate, yeah. I like the glow coming off the sword.
Yeah, he's absolutely nailed OSL, hasn't he? Like, it's his signature move. And I don't normally like object source lighting used that much. You know, I like it done subtly. Bit of a glow here, a bit of a glow there. But I think it's because he's chosen one colour and made that the OSL. It's not overdone. It's just a key feature of the model. And it's done very well. Yeah. And I just think it makes it. I think it's stunning. So that's Mike. The other one is, I'm very pleased to see more posts from Darren Latham. And I found his stuff recently to be really inspirational. He's done some step-by-steps, for example, on how he did the non-metal metallics for that Ponzi Slanesh dude, whose name I can never remember. Does he have it in his...
Oh, Sigvald the Magnificent, is it?
It's really complicated armour, because it's done like a Roman breastplate, and he's done some sort of pictures of that and the colours he used. And he's also been posting his Iron Skulls army, which he's done to tabletop standard, and it makes me feel sick how good it is. So, and also some Space Wolves, which is the main reason I actually want to shout it out, because he's been posting a few of his Space Wolf stuff on there, namely his Arjak Rockfist conversion. Marcus shared it with me the other day. And just little bits of it, like the free hand on a paw on his shin. Oh, love it.
Is this on Instagram? You've seen this?
Well, Instagram, Twitter, all over the place, really. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
what's his handle on Instagram?
His handle on Instagram is just Darren Latham.
Oh, there we are.
Yeah. And if anyone doesn't know who Darren Latham is, shame on you. Because he's one of the Games Workshop miniature designers, was a heavy metal painter, and is really generous with that, his hints and tips on how he's approached things online. He's also been doing his Eldar recently, which, man oh man. One of my particular favourite posts that he did, I'm just trying to find it, is he done before I've done the freehand and after he'd done, there it is, yeah. He's done a warlock before he did the freehand detail, on the black cloak, yellow detail, and afterwards, and it really is one of those pictures where you're like, oh wow, that makes a significant difference. Changes the model completely. So great, yeah. So I think well worth following Darren, to be honest. And that's what this is about. It's about shouting out people worth following to just make your Twitter and Instagram and Facebook feeds full of happy, pretty models rather than grumpy, miserable world.
So, and part of our quest to do that is our 2P's podcast hobby forum. So, there's a group we set up so it could be a little bit more interactive for all listeners. So, we've done that. 181 people in there at the moment. So, thank you for that.
Growing all the time.
So a couple of things.
It's growing all the time. It's great.
Yeah, it's cool. It's ace. And it's nice because you see a bit of diversity, which is what I wanted to talk about. So Mike M has put up the mountain from the Song of Ice and Fire.
His Song of Ice and Fire stuff is great.
Yeah, he needs to stop it now, really, because it's hard to resist that. And it does look...
You should
it looks ace.
Think yourself lucky it hasn't coincided with a season on television.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we usually do shout out Jon Hammett, for stuff, but particularly, it's a bit of a weird shout out, but it's essentially a leaking sewer pipe, from the Rat Catchers Guild for Guild Ball.
Yeah. It's good.
It looks brilliant. I think it just looks ace. I really like it. I think it'd make a great objective for anything, really. Rob Davis has posted up one of the Khorne Blood Reavers from Garrex Reavers from
It's great. with the grey tone skin.
The skin. Yeah. Oh yeah. I absolutely love that skin. I really, really like it. I think it looks ace.
Would be cool if you could do it.
And he has actually put in there when you go in. He's put a step by step.
That's great, lovely.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that looks mad good, to be honest. I really, really like that. The other one, the last one I was going to shout out that I was looking for was Paul Allen. So Mighty Paul, who I worked with for a time in Bath. He has posted up the a little warband he's doing to try out a new game in the new year. But it's a dwarf, a crossbow wielding man, I think, and an elf, and they just look great. They just look like a proper adventuring warband.
Excellent.
So, yeah, really like that. So yeah, some good stuff in there, and as ever, I always encourage people to join, post stuff, makes the day go nicer at work, mainly, if it goes bing and there's something cool in there.
Yeah, and one of the things we've been talking about, we were really chuffed with how the painting competition went recently, and we've been thinking of a way to move it forward, but not make it more exclusive, I suppose, but how we'd like to continue it going on into the next year. And we've decided we're going to run. Well, why don't you talk about this, Dan? Because this was your baby, and I really liked it, and I'm just totally stealing your thunder. So,
well, so Ben Chambers, Ben the bass, suggested it actually, but what we want to do is run a monthly theme painting competition.
Yep.
In the hobby group, and then when we've done that, look at sharing those pictures onto the main Facebook page, and probably use that method to judge, a winner. And the monthly is it's just about the mighty accolade, really, and to try and, inspire people to put something up and push themselves. And then we're looking at maybe quarterly or, twice a year doing something more prize based.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main thing is to get all these people that are doing awesome hobby stuff in the hobby group to enter a cool competition, and then we can put pictures of that on the main page and shamelessly try and draw people into the hobby group, but also give you guys some accolades for creating some flipping awesome stuff.
Yeah.
That's the thought. What I'm waiting for at the moment, I've asked Ben to do some cool little pictures of the peas with paintbrushes.
Me?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, because you can draw and I cannot draw at all. And then I will mull it over, scratch my head, and in the next episode, let you know what the first category is going to be.
Yeah, cool.
That's my plan.
Yeah. That's not to say that. I think when it comes to prizes, it will depend on the month, because sometimes there will be sometimes people send us stuff and we can always put that on as a prize, but it will depend on month to month. Like apparently Dan's just given away all my Spike magazines, so
Oh yeah, we can give those away. Well, we'll do a Blood Bowl one.
Yeah, great, love it. Thanks,
we'll do
man.
Blood Bowl, and
should we do a corn one and we can give away a corn army? No? Okay. Deadly silence from the other end now. Right, so have you gone to sleep? Well, as he's past unconscious, probably struggling to stay awake from the miasma of chaos in his room, let's move on to the Middle-earth. It's Middle-earth this week, isn't it? Oh, man. We'll see you in Middle-earth, guys. Hi guys, and it's our semi-regular, irregular, every other podcast section on Lord of the Rings, or Middle-earth strategy battle game. And we have been kind of taken by surprise. I don't know whether they were supposed to be released, or whether they got sneaked and they came out, but we've had a whole bunch of releases that we sort of expected to happen, and last time we were talking about, we were like, seriously, where are they? We saw them ages ago, we want them. Namely, the Gondor Captains, which are boss.
Yeah.
And, but we've also had a bunch of other stuff. So we've got, I'm trying to find their names. So, we've had Gandalf and Pippin, which is really exciting.
Do you know, that model is incredible. It's so good.
Which one?
Gandalf and Pippin, because you got Gandalf on the horse, right? And then Pippin is done in such a way that you can drop him on in front of Gandalf and use it as Pippin and Gandalf on the horse, or take him off and Gandalf still looks okay, just riding around on the horse on his own.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah. One of the things that keeps getting brought up whenever we post models about Lord of the Rings is what their faces look like. I have to say that in person, the model faces are phenomenal. I don't think that they do very well being photographed because the models are a lot smaller. So they get blown up, and the contrast from the paint jobs often makes them look a little odd. When they would look they do. We've seen them in Warhammer World, they look stunning, in person. So I think for those people who have concerns, worth waiting and seeing. And I even include Legolas, who I'm not a fan of the Hobbit model. Much prefer the ones they did for Lord of the Rings. But even in person, that face looks like he does in the film, which is weirdly older than he did in Lord of the Rings, but we won't even go there because there's no point for him to be in The Hobbit, but they put him in The Hobbit anyway because The Hobbit was a catastrophe as far as I'm concerned. And that rant is over. But what they have done is a fantastic character series model, which brings me lots of hopeful feelings for the future if they're going to do character series models like that, dude. The duel on Ravenhill, Azog and Thorin.
Yeah.
The finale fight between the two of them, which was one of the additions to the Hobbit that I was completely fine with. As, you know, for example, the things that they put in that worked really well and things that they didn't, Legolas being one of them. But the duel, that big fight at the end was fantastic. And the models that they've done for it, I think look really, really good. I would particularly like to see that end fight from the first film where Thorin when they're all rescued by the eagles.
Oh, yeah.
That's a great bit too. So that would be something cool to see. But that's a great model, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very good. Very good. And we've also got Denethor. So
yeah, a new version of him. That's the one that came out the side.
Yeah,
didn't it?
that came out of nowhere. We were like not even sure it was a new model. And the face on that is really good. Talking about faces. And you've also got what's his name? Irolas?
Yeah. A character who makes a very brief appearance in the film. Which is cool because I love the fact that they're just expanding on these random cameos in the film and turning them into whole characters.
Yeah.
Which is excellent, really.
Yeah, this is very good. Very good. What else came out recently that...
So, Theoden was released separately, which is very cool. But also we've had the book. So we've had the armies of the Hobbit. So it's the other half. And now between the three of them now, we've got Armies of the Lord of the Rings, Army of the Hobbit, and the rule book. We have the full set of rules for everything that exists already. Which is exciting. So now from this point onwards, it's all going to be new and shiny, which is awesome. We're expecting the first book to be Gondor. Which is,
yes, yeah. I think they've said it will be, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Well, mind you, that said, that they have said it in a seminar, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're not going to pull something out of the bag and surprise us all completely. Because, yes. So one of the things I was quite excited to see is the White Dwarf is filled with it this month.
Yeah.
Absolutely rammed full of Lord of the Rings stuff. And we've seen a whole swathe. It'd be worth me listing them if I had the list here, but a whole swathe of re-releases, including the things like that I was talking about that weren't there, that I was disappointed that weren't there. They're almost as if they released them straight afterwards because they'd heard what I'd said, but...
I told you.
I know. The Citadel Guard for Gondor, all that, loads of stuff like that is back. And I think Archers for Numenor. I might be wrong about that, but I think so. Need to double check, but that would be wicked if it was. Mm-hmm. And I'm very pleased because when you went up to Warhammer World, one of the things that I was really gutted to have not bought when they were out was the 2 new White Council boxes. So the kind of combat version and the standing around looking dramatic version. Yeah. They're not online anymore, but they were at Warhammer World, so I snapped those 2 up just in case they were like running the last of them through the shelves, because I love them. The scene with the White Council is one of the best scenes in the whole thing. Also, I find one of the saddest because Saruman is great in it.
Yeah. And
then he turns into such an arse. So it's a bit of a shame, but there we go. But yeah, I liked those models. I'm particularly excited because I've painted Galadriel in her war form before. Do you remember they used to have the Galadriel in her war aspect?
Yes, yeah.
Based on when she is in the forest with Frodo and going, a little bit crazy, thinking about having the One Ring. And it should be a... well, they have her in a war aspect in this, and when I first painted her, did it very much in the colours from the first film, so kind of ethereal blues and greens, that kind of stuff. And I might dig her out and photograph her and put her up on Instagram for people to see. But when they redid the box set, they painted her in more earthy tones. Mm-hmm. So I'm quite excited to get stuck in and do a second version of her in those kind of colours. Yeah.
Well, that's good.
I find when I approach Lord of the Rings, I don't know about you, but I'm very conservative, much more conservative than I am with anything else.
What do you mean? Like following established colour schemes and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's understandable. I think most people do. So, yeah.
Yeah, so, have you got anything you wanted to chat about with it? Because, while I just dig out something that I saw recently as well that I very much liked.
I was looking through to see if I could find... I'm sure there was something else that I'd seen that someone had picked up that... I'd not seen before. But I can't find it at the moment. It is amazing, like, it still amazes me now, like, the massive rebirth of the Lord of the Rings. Yeah, that's great. It's lovely to see. Lovely to see. See it boosting back up. I've been trying to listen to the Silmarillion, but it's hard.
It is. Silmarillion is tough. So I'm reluctant to shout these out because I don't remember who did them, but the Gondor Hill soldiers, mountain soldiers, that someone had converted from the Citadel Guard.
Yeah.
And I can't find whose name it was, but they've done great photographs of them. I'll dig out the name in the show notes, but they're really, really good, and I wanted to mention them because I think they show how you can do something different without fully breaking away from the established colour scheme. So they're very much Gondor. They're very much in Gondor plate, and the Gondor colours with the cloaks, but they are very unique. They look really good.
Yeah.
Because the person who's done them, I'm very sorry I don't know who it is, has taken, like, the hill warriors, the guys who protect particularly the guys who protect the beacons, and turned those into a force. And I think that's a really cool way of approaching Lord of the Rings, taking the small sections of imagery and expanding them into a thing. So, painting-wise, are you going to start a Lord of the Rings project?
Well, I've still got the orc stuff. I've still got a fair bit to paint for that, which is what I'd like to do. That's what I will do next. But, excuse me, yawning away. That won't happen for a little bit of time now, just while I'm working on other bits and bobs. But I may flit over there from time to time.
Yeah. I might have to go batch paint crazy and get through my Pelennor Field stuff.
Well, yeah, you will, because you've got flipping loads, haven't you?
I'm very torn about what army to do next, because I really like Gondor and I really like Rohan.
Yeah.
I think it's going to have to be Rohan. I just love
Well, you
Rohan.
just bought a load of Rohan.
Yeah, and I don't understand why I hadn't done that before, because I love them. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, they are.
It's one of the few scenes in a film that's guaranteed to make me get all emotional. It's the charge of Rohan in the Battle of Pelennor Fields.
Mm.
And I don't really know why. It's just an amazing moment. Absolutely brilliant. And filmed so well.
Well, it is.
Really
I think because, most of that film leads up to that point, doesn't it?
Yeah. And I think the thing I like about it is that up until that point, the good side have very much felt like they're on the back foot.
Mm.
All the way through. Gondor's being attacked, Rohan's being attacked, the Fellowship are just running from one ambush to another. It feels like everyone is on the back foot.
Yeah.
Apart from maybe that scene where Gandalf rescues Helm's Deep with the first charge of the Rohan, where they come over
when they come down the hill. Yeah, it's great.
But when they line up on Pelennor Fields, and there's not like a massive amount of them, there's loads of them, but they're still massively outnumbered. And Theoden looks out across everything, and he's basically like, yeah, there's a lot of them, but this is totally the right thing to do, so let's just crack on. And then gives that wicked speech, and then they go down that hill just like a comet. And I love the bit where the orcs are like nuts.
Yeah, you see it happen, don't you?
Yeah. And then they hit them and they just all start dying. I love it. Absolutely love it. And it's for the first time in the film, you're like, yes, the good side are really kicking ass now. And then the momentum starts to build. You can almost feel what it would be like being a man of Gondor sat on the battlements of Minas Tirith watching that and thinking, we're not alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's a wonderful moment. Wonderful, wonderful moment.
I think that wonderful moment would make a good moment to end and ride off into the sunset.
Yeah. Unlike Theoden, who gets squished.
Yeah, unlike Theoden. So as always, thank you very much for joining us, especially if you've got this far. Unless, of course, you've just skipped to the end to hear the outro, which would be weird, but you might have done it. As ever, we are on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. So at the 2P's podcast. That's right, isn't it, Ben?
Yep, and YouTube, I think you can find us by typing in the 2P's podcast, but the handle system, I've not really got my head around yet, so something like that.
Good.
And as always, a huge thank you to our patrons for supporting us. You make this a million times easier. We cannot express how thankful we are for your support, because it, like I said, it just helps us keep this ticking along, and we're very, very grateful. Awesome. So let's have a look at, before we finish, just quickly have a look at the diary, roughly when we're going to fit one in. So this will grace your ears on the 11th. 2 weeks from that point is Christmas, so as much as we love you, probably not, I think.
Yeah.
And then the week following that is New Year's Day, so...
So it might be a month.
It might be a month.
Dun, dun,
what we'll probably do is fit in some hobby videos and maybe mini podcasts, like short sections if something comes out that we want to do a brief, bit on.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But I think you're probably going to be looking at, or we're probably going to be looking at the next full episode being something like the first week of January, 9th of January, something like that.
Yeah, I think so.
So sorry about that. That's largely because of my Nurgle's rot. Otherwise we'd have been able to squeeze another one in before Christmas, but alas.
'Twas not to
Blame
be.
chaos.
That's all right. Cool.
Blame chaos for everything.
Okay. So, dude,
all right, guys.
Nice to speak to you. Guys, thank you very much.
And we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.